we are trying something different here today. I am going to rank with my own little chart all of the drugstore blushes that I currently own. I am so excited. This was 100% inspired by Jamie Page. She's done a couple of these videos over the past few years and I have loved them, and I've always had in the back of my mind, I want to try it. So I will link her channel below and one of her ranking videos because I think she does such a great job with them. And like I said, totally inspired me. So thank you, Jamie. So I've got currently 11 drugstore blushes in my collection as far as I could find. I'm sure there's one somewhere that I forgot about, but and we're gonna rank them. So let me show you what the chart looks like. So my categories are best of the best. These are my holy grail absolute favorites. Then I did a category for pretty good. Like, there's really nothing wrong with these products. They are very good. They're just not my tippy top favorite, but I do like them. And then the middle category is, I've tried better. Like, these are ones that they're not like terrible. There's nothing like glaringly wrong with them, but I've found something that works better that's probably higher up on the chart. Most things with this, like I said, there isn't anything wrong with them. And it could be that a year ago they were a favorite of mine, but since trying it, I've discovered something better. And so that's why some of these get bumped down to that category. Then I've got wouldn't buy again. So these are products that they're not great. They're just not a favorite for sure. And I definitely wouldn't repurchase or like get another shade of. And then the bottom category is, why is this on the shelves? Like, this should never have passed inspection. This is so bad. I'm so excited to do this video. I hope you're jazzed. You're razzed, you're jazzed. I was thinking about, today was actually going to be a declutter video that I was filming. And I'm kind of toying with not really doing those anymore, maybe doing one big final declutter and then being done with it. But this is kind of the perfect replacement video where I can share my thoughts on a category of things. And at the end of this, we are gonna declutter a few things that were lower on the rankings. So it's like a cool new hybrid. I'm excited, I hope you are too. Let's dive in. Let's start with this little blush right here. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It blush. I have it in Pink Sands. This one took me completely by surprise when I first tried it like a year or two ago, because I thought it looked like I would probably like it, but I'm not always into these blushes that have multiple colors and you kind of like mix them together. But there's something about this that the formula is so creamy for a blush. I feel like it always looks really nice and even on the skin. And that is one thing you will notice as we go through this video. Blushes that look patchy, I can't hang with because there's better out there. And so this is one that always looks so seamless and pretty. I like the tone that it creates when you mix them all together. Definitely a nice peachy tone. If I could change something about it, I'd maybe change the packaging. Physicians Formula always does their little weird brush that I feel like I've never liked using. I do think the packaging itself though is cute, if not just a little bit thick. So this is one that was an easy choice to put in the best of the best category. I just think that this formula is amazing. It lasts so well. I love the tone. And of course, keeping in mind too, as we're going through this, a lot of this for me, it's the formula first, but the shade for me and my skin tone is important. If you can't find a shade that works for you, it's just not going to be one you reach for a lot, right? Or that I would recommend to you guys unless I knew the formula is amazing, but it's just the shade, which I'll try to differentiate as we go. This one, I had to double check that they were still selling it. So this is from Colourpop. It is their pressed powder blush line. This shade in particular is called Why Hello. I did discover upon researching for this video, this shade is only sold on Colourpop's site, but they have this formula, this line at other retailers like, I want to say Ulta and Target. But this shade in particular for my skin tone, I love. It's one of those blushes that you can just go crazy applying it, this shade for me, and it always looks so, so nice. It's kind of a peach, but it's more of like a muted pinky peach. Honestly, it really is in between. This is exactly my kind of shade. I also appreciate the finish of this. It's not shimmery. It really is more matte, but it's not super dry matte. It's pigmented. Like, it's just a good blush. I would put this in the pretty good category because this is still a favorite of mine, but is it the best of all I've tried? I don't think so. I mean, it could maybe straddle the line, but I feel like pretty good is where this belongs. What's next? This is the Revlon Gel Serum Blush. I have it in the shade 110. I feel like this looks so patchy on the skin. There's something about this formula that I just don't like. I think because it just ends up looking, I don't know, the color of this too, it has a little bit of transparency, which can look good, but if the shade's not quite right for you too, like I just feel like this messes up the foundation underneath because it's a little bit oilier. It says it's got glycerin in it. This just did not do well for me, and I've heard from many other people that have tried this too that they also didn't like it. So I'm gonna put this in the category of why is this even on the shelves? Because I feel like the first time I tried this, I was like, okay, maybe I need to try this. And I've tried every version of applying this and it has never looked good and it doesn't last on the skin. So this is one that I'm glad to declutter, and I really feel like it should be pulled from the shelves. This one was hard to rank, and I'll explain why. This is the NYX Buttermelt Blush. I actually really like the formula of this line. I've talked about their bronzer. I definitely recommend that. But I would, at this point, I think I've realized I really do have to wear that more as a blush because it has that like pink twist to it. But the other like actual blush shades are really pigmented, which can be great or terrible depending on your needs. But every time I've tried to apply this, I can't get this shade to work for me. And I always end up with clown cheeks no matter how much I'm trying to clean it up. And when I look at their shade range, there really is no other color that would work for me other than this one. And so I just feel like even though the formula is amazing, I'm gonna put this in the I've tried better, because I do think there are better blushes out there for you, especially if you find that all of the shades in this are not quite right for your skin tone and way pigmented. Like you have to be so careful with this. And that is kind of my biggest strike. Even with the bronzer, I love it, but I have to be very careful with it. So I think it'd be cool, and I would consider trying if they launched more shades, like just kind of, and it's a pretty good shade range as it is, but if they launched more shades that were maybe a little more muted, I would be interested and probably would try another one. But based on the shades that are out now, I think I'm good. I've tried better. This one's been around for a while. It is the Milani Rose Powder Blushes. I have it in the shade number 1, Romantic Rose. This is one that, first of all, I always appreciate Milani's cute packaging. I love this rose design. I have traveled with this like crazy. Like this is just one of my go-to blushes. So this was very easy for me to place on the chart on the best of the best category. It truly is the best of the best. I do think this lasts really well in the skin. I never feel like I'm struggling to get it to blend into the skin. I can never really go too crazy with it. It just is one of those everyday blushes that never fails me ever. And when I really think about which of these, you know, in this category, if I lost all of my makeup, what would I go by first? This is the blush I'd probably go by. I love the Physicians Formula one, obviously just as well, but this one is like perhaps my numero uno. I think it is my number 1. I just love it. Like I want to feel about the makeup I keep the way I feel about this. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like when you go through your closet, those few shirts or that dress that you just love, and every time you put it on, it's like getting into a warm bath. You're like, yes, I can put it on any day and know it's gonna look right and it's gonna look good and I'm gonna feel good in it. That's how I feel about this, and that's how I want to feel about most of the makeup I keep, you know? So anyway, that's just a side note. Okay, so this one is the L'Oreal True Match Blush. I have it in C12, which is called Baby Blossom. So this is of course part of the L'Oreal True Match line where you can, in theory, based on your skin tone, pick a blush that's appropriate, which I love the idea of that. I really think, I just love that idea. So this is obviously for more fair skin. I really like this a lot. So I'm gonna put this in the pretty good category. I feel like it lasts pretty well on the skin. I don't think it lasts as long as like the Milani and the Physicians Formula one in the best of the best, but it lasts pretty well. I will say too that sometimes this shade is just like almost too light for me. So I feel like I've really got to build it up, which again can be good or bad depending on what you're looking for. And then the packaging on this also has a mirror, which I do like that. And then the same kind of brush Physicians Formula has, which is fine. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good line. So I feel like that's the perfect category to put it in. If you found a shade you were loving, I would totally recommend this blush. Okay, this one is this the first? Oh no, it's not the first. Second, like cream or liquid blush we're mentioning. This is the Milani Cheek Kiss Cream Blush. I have it in 110 Nude Kiss. There's a story to this one. Back when, why can't I open this? There we go. Back when I was first trying liquid and like cream blushes, this was one of the earlier ones I tried, and I thought it was okay. I'm like, it kind of reminds me of the NYX cream blush that used to exist that I really liked. But the more I've tried other ones, this has just kind of moved down and moved down and moved down. And at this point, I'm gonna put this in the wouldn't buy again category, because I just don't feel like, compared to what is now available, this is very great. And this is actually, I'm realizing why I couldn't open it is because this, I haven't swatched this one. I know I had an older one, so I'm not gonna swatch this. I don't know. I'll see if someone I know wants it. I guess I'm talking about how bad it is. Who's gonna want it? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's just, I feel like comparatively, it looks a little bit patchier. It definitely does not last on the skin as long as other cream blushes that I have that I love. And it's kind of a thin, kind of waxy, weird formula. So this is one I'm not a big fan of. Probably, well, I'm gonna get rid of that one, especially since it's new. I'm trying to think of where my old one, I know the one expired, so I bet I probably threw it away. And if you're wondering why would you buy it again, it was sent to me in PR a while ago. I've had it for a while. Okay, next up is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Blush. It's the kind that's like the liquid, it's got the little sponge. This one, I almost hesitate to even call a blush, because in the end, I feel like it doesn't look super blushy on me. It just looks very, I mean, I guess it does look blushy, but it's just very, very, very highlightery. Very kind of coppery almost. It makes my cheeks look really ruddy. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, just kind of like I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm like, I swear I know what I'm doing. It just, especially now that I've tried even more, I mean, this came out somewhat recently, and I liked their highlighter better, and their bronzer was pretty good, but out of them, the blush is the one that I was like, every time I'd use it, I'm like, it's okay. So I'm gonna put this in the category of, I wouldn't buy it again. I'll probably declutter after this video because I have not found myself reaching for this really ever. I would be curious if they launch these, but not shimmery. I am sure that they will. The formula's okay, but I just don't like these shimmery blushes. I feel like they just don't look right on my skin. Okay, so e.l.f. also recently launched their camo liquid blushes. These are pretty good. I was testing this out originally as like, is it a dupe for the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch ones? And I do think it's really, really close. I think I found one that's even better from the drugstore. I'll talk about in a sec. And because of that, and just trying it more and more, I'm gonna put this in the I've tried better category, because I don't think it's bad, but I do think there's better out there. It can be a little bit tricky to work with. I honestly feel the same way about the Rare Beauty one, where it can be a little bit tricky. It's very, very pigmented, and so you have to work quickly. You need a very little bit. I think there's a big learning curve. So this one is not terrible. I wouldn't steer you away from it, but just know that it's a little bit harder to work with, and I do think there's better out there. Okay, next up is the Essence Pure Nude Blush. This one's so good. This is, again, tied with the Milani. These would be the first two purchases I make, which is perfect because this one's matte and this one's like shimmery. So I'm gonna definitely put this in the best of the best category. I just find that it makes me so happy to use this blush. It has that slight bit of shimmer. I feel like because it's baked, it doesn't look like skin. I mean, it's still, you can tell you've got blush on, but it just looks so pretty. It just looks so pretty. Honestly, if you're looking for that, a more wearable version of, like, you know, Sabrina Carpenter's like super hyper pink blush shimmery look, this gives that, but I feel like it's toned down a bit, and it's, for me, it's perfect. So I have the shade Shimmery Rose. My biggest complaint is that this poor lid never stood a chance. So I will eventually repurchase, but yeah, I wish they'd figure out the lid situation, because I know a lot of you guys have the same problem. But yeah, so good, so beautiful. Looks so smooth and airbrushed on the skin. It wears well, so good. And then we've got the L'Oreal Lumi Le Liquid Blush. This is a very new launch from L'Oreal. This one is the one that I think is a better dupe for the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush versus the e.l.f. I like this one better. My favorite shade, really the only shade that works well for me, is Dewy Worth It. And I just think it's so pretty. A little bit goes a long way. You can stipple it on. It will stay really well. If you've been burned in the past by liquid and cream blushes feeling like they melt off of the skin, this one stays so well. It's kind of crazy because it does like dry down onto the skin and it lingers. This is one that I'm always surprised lasts as well as it does. So I'm gonna put this straddling best of the best and pretty good because I haven't had it long enough, I feel like, to put it in that best of the best category, but I'm really enjoying it, so I've got it straddling the line. Is that cheating? Who cares? Because I make up the rules here. That's my drugstore blush collection. I thought about doing all my blushes, but honestly, I have a lot of other blush, so I thought this was kind of the perfect way to dip our toe in the water. Let me know if you like this style of video. I'm excited to do it some more. Now, knowing at the end, I think I am gonna declutter these 3 today. If you're just curious and you need that decluttering itch scratched, there you go. We're gonna declutter those 3, so now we're down to the ones I really like. Oh, and if you're curious which blush I am actually wearing today, it is which one did I put on? Oh yeah, the Milani Romantic Rose. I had to really think, I'm like, wait, which one did I put on? It's this one. I just love it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you subscribe and stick around. I've got lots of videos planned. I will probably try to do a ranking video either every month or maybe like every 6 weeks because this is so enjoyable and I think it's a fun way for me to show you guys my more finalized thoughts and comparing different products I have. Cause you know, when you see me in a favorites video say, I love this blush, and then 3 months later, I'm talking about a different blush, it can be hard to compare like, well, which out of those though, which one do you recommend the most? And I feel like this is an awesome way for me to be able to share my recommendations in a more useful manner. Does that make sense? Anyway, all right. I love you all so much. Definitely subscribe, and I would love to say hey to you on my, whoa. Come say hey to me over on my Instagram. It's Jessica Braun. That's B-R-A-U-N. Over there, I'm on my stories pretty much every day. I'd love to chat with you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.